All right. I think we're good. I think we're rolling. We're good. Okay, cool. So, back with another one of these. I'm already in a state of not really knowing what day it is, even though just being like one day into being off of work for the rest of the year. But I guess first, how are you? Wonderful, lovely. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Uh, and welcome back to just rolling with it for these last few weeks of 2020. Woo, woo, indeed. Um, yeah. So, what kind of to talk about today? So, one of the things I was thinking about this one a little bit. I don't exactly know what I'm going to say. Not that I really know what I'm going to say for any of these, especially when I'm talking about like games and stuff with those guys over there. Um, but we'll see kind of where this thought goes because it felt kind of weird to me too. So, I for one of the things that I do with Prismatic Planet is every Tuesday I post a haiku with a picture, a photo I've taken from somewhere. It can be anywhere. Um, and I'd been wondering why, over the course of having that whole routine, that I've never seen a picture come up for me to go through. Because I thought I grabbed all of my photos, put them on my new laptop when I got it, but haven't found, I haven't come across any. I don't think any um, pictures from a trip that Heather and I did to South Africa in 2018, and it was like I remember like having a really good time on that trip. I think knowing that it was like I'm pretty sure an 18-hour flight one way, that leaves a weird taste in your mouth when you're dealing with a trip like that on the way there. That was also the first time that we stopped in like Amsterdam, but heading over to Amsterdam and then flying down to South Africa and being there for about a week and a half, and then doing the same thing back. Um, it's like being there and like loving it, and then having to go through that on the way back. You're immediately just trying to remember things through photos and stuff because it's just 18 hours being on a plane is brutal. Um, but I hadn't seen any of those come up for these Haikus Day type things that I've been doing, which kind of stinks because I remember a lot of them being very good pictures, and I was like, I kind of want to use some of those. So I've been meaning to do this for months now, frankly, to just go grab my ancient laptop, which took like an hour to grab like all the photos and took like 2 seconds to get them onto my new one. Uh, I don't. It's a good thing I still have it. I'd say, why do I still have it around? But it's a good thing I did because I wouldn't have had the pictures otherwise. Um, but I got those, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go through these today just to save me some time tomorrow in case I want to use them for uh, for tomorrow's Haikus Day. And I did go through that, and it is crazy how much the memories of that trip just came like flooding back. And it's not like, I don't know how to say, like, I remember being exactly in that moment. There were a couple of those, especially around ones where I remember we captured like video or it was like a particularly interesting thing. Like we're driving down the road and like there are two lionesses just sitting on the side of the road, and they're just sitting there. It's like, oh wow, like you can roll down your window, take a picture, and really shouldn't be doing that. But they were just really chill about it. They're distinctly remembering when a hyena broke into one of the camps that we were staying at for the night. And it ended fine. It was just really interesting. That doesn't normally happen, but we're lucky in that regard. That one, we got to experience that, and two, that we got to survive that to tell the tale. And things like when giraffes were following us. Oh, that's a funny one. There's a video of that one, or we have a video of that one where we're just driving down a road and there's a bunch of giraffes in the way, and we're like, well, we're not going to go around them. That seems pretty not wise, but we started backing away to give them space, and they started following our car. Um, so like seeing a giraffe like in pictures and stuff, you already know it's kind of a weird creature, but like it's really weird when it's just like staring at you and walking towards your car very ominously. And they did that for a bit before going off on their own way, but that was pretty funny. But like aside from those like experiences that are just like, okay, I remember that moment pretty well, and I probably remember that moment without a picture, there are just some experiences where it's just like I've seen pictures of like birds and some of the animals that we saw, like rhinos and things, but the ones that called back the most, like the biggest feeling, for some reason were always landscape photos. I don't know why that is, but it just sort of brings into context what that trip was like, or what that place was like. There were a number of times where I was there, I'd feel something like, it's so weird that a place can seem so alien and yet still be the same planet. Like the kinds of plants that grow in the forested areas of Africa, or the woody areas of Africa, and the mountainous regions are very different. I shouldn't say they're very different. They're different enough. Almost kind of like maybe that's why it feels like it's more of like an alien kind of thing. It's like I kind of recognize this. I know what it's trying to be, but it's just slightly different enough. It's kind of that feeling of an uncanny valley when it comes to like different kinds of plants and things. But it feels so interesting and cool and novel. And those feelings, I didn't get them while like seeing pictures of like animals and people and birds, but for plants and landscape, big time. That's like just started feeling that again. Like I was there experiencing that novelness for the first time again, which is just really interesting. Doesn't like hurt that I have like these wonderful sunset pictures. And that's like just like so, it's probably like a cliche thing, but it's like so like an African sunset is just like freaking beautiful. And that we captured one that was like perfect. A few that were just amazing, astounding pictures of it. Are just kind of like, you know what it really is. And maybe that's the same like wherever you go, but like we got to kind of experience it there and just sort of be like, yeah, that is a true statement. That's a very real feeling. And then being able to look back on that, it's like not only did we get a picture of that, but we were able to experience that firsthand. And you kind of get a little bit of that feeling back. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe there's just like other people can like get those feelings and those moments back depending on what they connect most with the pictures they've taken. Like if you take a picture of a lion or a baboon or a rhino and you see that and you're put back in that spot. For me, it's like almost always landscape photos for some reason. They put me back in that spot as if I were looking at it. Whereas if I'm looking at a picture of an animal or a zoom in shot of a plant, like a very specific plant, I'm not really reminded of the context. I'm reminded of that thing I was trying to look at. And very often we're all presented with things to look at, but when you get presented with a context, you try and put yourself back in there, and in my case, like I can. And I can go right back in there and be like, yes, that was an amazing feeling. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. It could just be like, it's like I remember that animal. This puts me right in that context again, and it's like perfect for me. Landscapes. Not sure why. Don't really have much takeaway from there. Just an interesting thing that kind of happened while I was going through those photos. Looking forward to bringing back a couple of those for Haiku Day for sure. I know I saw a few as I was kind of just going through, glancing through a lot of what's there. So definitely looking forward to actually making use of some of those, rather than just kind of letting them sit there. Share them out. Think of some nice way to capture that moment in words as well. So, yeah, I think that's probably about it. A little bit ranty, not really much about anything today. Yeah. Cool. Well then, you have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful beginning to your Tuesday tomorrow. And there might be like a haiku stay out there with one of these pictures I'm talking about, with one of these very pictures that I'm talking about tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that if you are one to follow that sort of thing. And we'll catch you then. See ya.